Welcome to the show. Got an amazing one here for you. We are talking top 10 running backs for fantasy football 2025, the extreme early list. We're going to count it down. We're going to go from 10 down to 1. Now, as a disclaimer, this is going to change. This is just a foundational video. So we have a discussion. We have an idea. We're kind of laying the foundation as to what to expect for fantasy football 2025 at the running back position. So I'm laying it out here, but I'm going to give you guys these names. But with that, there's going to be an asterisk. So it's going to say, okay, but be careful. They're in the top 10, but there could be a regression with this guy. There could be a decline with this guy for sure. This guy could be trending up. This guy could be trending down. Full breakdown here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys do smash it, tap it, slap it, hit the thumbs up. We go year-round fantasy football content. We do not let up here. This is the place to be. Now, rankings, I will tell you, this is just a discussion. It's more for foundations. If you guys want the truth, meaning players to avoid, I'll give you a quick example. CMC last year, across the board, was the number one running back. What did I say? I said, avoid Christian McCaffrey. Do not draft Christian McCaffrey. Super Bowl hangover. Just got married. Decline imminent. Coming off 2 pinnacle years. I laid out all the reasons why to avoid him. Even though he was in the top 10, he wasn't my first running back. So if you want the truth, you could pre-order 16 rounds right now. That is the solution. You can get it down below, get signed up, get into the course. You get a login, and then you're going to be set for the first release of 16 rounds, which comes out second week of May. All right. So that is the truth. But rankings, we're going to have this discussion as well. Okay. So we're going to count 10 down to 1. Hit the thumbs up and let me know what you guys think of the list. Did I leave somebody out? Should I put someone else in? Let me know what you guys think. I want to make this interactive. So hit the thumbs up. Very, 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 very important. All right. So let's dive right into it right here, right now. We're going to start off with the first running back here. We're going to go 10 down to 1. And we're talking Devin off the chain, a chain here at 10. Now, this is actually currently set at, filtered by the most rushing attempts. I'm going to filter it by fantasy points. Devin at chain had himself a good season. Now, he finished 5th. This is very, very important. He finished 5th amongst running backs in fantasy points. But I want you to note something here. Now, the Kaships are going to copy paste and have him. I think they've got him ranked currently 4th right now on the PPR rankings amongst running backs. I'm going to tell you there's going to be a drop. Because if you look at these stats here, guys, very carefully, only 203 attempts. Now, he did get it done, obviously, in the receiving game. 592 receiving yards, okay? 6 receiving touchdowns. That's pretty high. Now, I'm not really a fan of Miami Dolphins running backs, particularly, throughout the years we've seen them not perform well. Achane has been doing really well. I got to put him here in the top 10 simply because I'm not trying to copy and paste, but he just he has that youth, he has that upside, he has that explosiveness. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a young Alvin Kamara. So he's sitting here in the top 10, 203 attempts. Again, that is 22nd in rushing attempts. For me, I like running backs that get a ton of volume. I can't express to you how crucial that is when I'm looking at the running back position, but the fantasy points were there. And that's, again, a key element that you got to consider. You can't ignore. 5th in fantasy points with 299.9. So pretty much 300 fantasy points. Still had under 1,000 yards rushing at 907. I'd like to see more rushing yards out of that chain. But do we trust his offense? Do we trust Tua? Tyreek Hill? Is he going to stay there? Again, a lot of question marks, but I got to get him in at number 10. All right. Coming at number 9 here, I got to go here with Josh Jacobs. Now, looking at last year's numbers, Josh Jacobs did end up finishing 6th, which is good. One thing that I do love about Josh Jacobs, I think he's on a relatively good offense with Green Bay. I think they get better this year, so I'm going to give him that. And then you've got, this is very, very important, 301 rushing attempts. He finished 6th in rushing attempts. I love to see that. 329 yards on the ground, 4.4 yards per carry, and 15 touchdowns. This is important. Now, when it comes to overall fantasy points, 293.1, putting him 6th. So I got to put him here in the top 10 simply because I just don't see a lot of guys essentially coming up and coming in to take that spot if he continues on the trajectory that he is. Consistent, good offense, getting that volume, and being the workhorse. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the running back position when we're talking running back draft strategy. I like to get them in the round 1, but the thing is, you kind of see with these running backs, they're kind of solidified in their position. Josh Jacobs is in his position. Some of the other guys I'm going to mention are solidified in their position, and they are the true RB1. When you're looking to draft a running back, you got to make sure that they are the workhorse, that nobody else is going to come in and take away that volume. Now, I'll give you a quick example of a situation where that may happen. A guy like Chase Brown, last year, right? He's good. He finished 10th amongst running backs, but if you look at him, he was a 5th round pick going into his 3rd season. I would think that the Bengals may want to consider drafting another running back. I think he's good. I just don't think he's like true RB1 good. But again, I could be wrong. I'm just using him as an example, right? You want those workhorses that have solidified their position are going to be the work, and they're going to stay at that position, okay? Now, speaking of a guy that's up and coming is Bucky Irving. I've got him at number 8. Now, this guy finished 13th amongst running backs. So let's take a quick look at Bucky Irving here. Finished 13th in fantasy points, 207 attempts. Now, I definitely want to see this coming up. 1,122 yards, 5 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Now, I want to make a note here about Bucky Irving that I want you guys to understand. This is very, very important. We're talking about a guy that was a 4th round pick in the draft last year, 5'10", 195 pounds. Some quick stats on him right here, right now, just so you guys get an idea. So, the thing that I noticed with him is that at the beginning of the season, he was getting 9 attempts, 7 attempts. By the end of the season, he had completely superseded and exceeded Rachaad White. Rachaad White was pretty much phased out week 16, 17. He was pretty much done. And Bucky Irving came in and was pretty much the guy, the alpha there. Now, 207 attempts, finishing 13th amongst running backs. That is, again, with that slow start. Assuming, based on what we saw this past year, he's taken that job. Okay, so he's taken that job. He's going to get more volume at the beginning of the season, which means more attempts, which means more fantasy points. And he was the faster runner, stronger runner, just overall better. Now, when you look at the attempt distribution, 207 to 144, Rachaad White had 144, 207 attempts for Bucky. That's going to go up. So you're going to get a lot more distribution from Bucky Irving next year. And the fact that he finished 13th at PPR amongst running back definitely slides in the top 10. I've got him in at number 8. I got to see where he lands. He's probably going to be a round 2 pick. I would definitely combo him with some of the other guys that I mentioned here in the top 7, okay? So let me know what you guys think so far. Achane, Jacobs, Bucky, I think Achane could slide off. And remember, Achane in his first year was injured. Could he fall back to the injury bug? One good year, one bad year. It's kind of a 50-50 split, whether he's a healthy guy or an injury-prone guy, we don't know. So Achane, Jacobs, Bucky Irving. Coming in at number 7. Now, this guy is not essentially going to be drafted by the counselor. I may make him a recommendation 16 rounds, but I don't think so. Currently, right now, sitting 5th in PPR amongst running backs on the consensus, on the Chiefs' early rankings. I got him at number 7. I'm giving him a D grade. The guy I'm talking about is Derrick Henry. When you look at his stats last year, we're talking about a guy entering his 10th season. I mean, just amazing numbers across the board, right? 17 games played, 325 attempts, 1,921 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns, Absolutely amazing, right? And when I look at these type of stats, we're talking pinnacle year. We're talking a guy who's 31 years old. We're talking a guy that's, I would say, a little bit over the hill, I would say. And based on last year's performance, you could say, Joe, you're crazy. But I was riding the Derrick Henry train back before everybody else was, going back to when was that breakout year? I'm going to look it up here. When he had that amazing breakout year. I think it was like 2019. He had the 1,540 yards, 303 attempts, 16 touchdowns. But in 2018, kind of people were sleeping on him. They had other guys ahead of him, Damian Williams and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, we don't believe in Henry. He's slow. He's sluggish. I remember channels, talking about how he wasn't that good. Then he kind of really broke out. And it's like now, it's like, okay, I'm looking for the next best thing, right? Now, he's going to be in a good offense. I think the Ravens are going to be great. But I'm actually going to be possibly passing on him because, again, he's a top 5 running back, which means I got to spend a top 6 pick on a guy who's 31 years old, coming off an amazing year into his 10th season. And I'm projecting forward. I'm looking forward as to who I'm going to be drafting, the younger guys, more upside, trending upwards, where I feel Henry could be on a regression year. Again, this is very early. We're like almost late February here. So I really want to just kind of break this down and kind of give you a foundation and understanding that kind of which direction I'm going and which direction Derrick Henry could be going. And I think that's going to be going down. That being said, I still think the offense is pretty good. Okay. Coming in at number 6. Yes, I'm putting a rookie in here. And wait till you see the top 5 here. And wait to hear about this rookie. Before I get into that, guys, you need to head over to mybookie.ag. You want to create an account, use code FFC for football leagues, for UFC, whatever you're watching, right? We got baseball, we got hockey, we got other stuff. Mybookie.ag is the site I use. Code FFC is the account you want to, the code you want to use. There's a 50% match deposit. Get in there right now, create an account, mybookie.ag. This is a site I use. Get in there and get in on the action. You can have that account set up when you have a deposit, and you can start using that towards football when football starts getting back in September. So you're all set up. So get in, create that account, and then have fun with other stuff as well. Mybookie.ag, FFC is the code. That's the site I use. Go have some fun, guys, on the site, okay? So let's continue on here with number 6 with the rookie. Okay, this is very, very important that we talk about this. The guy I got here is Ashton Jeanty. So let's talk about it. This is very, very important. Now, Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State, he was second place in Heisman. Could have had, second runner-up for Heisman Trophy. Listen to these stats here. 374 yards, 2601 on the ground, 29 touchdowns, plus 23 receptions. I mean, this guy was crushing it in college. 5'9", 215 pounds. He's the prototypical running back. He's explosive. He's got amazing vision. I watched tape on this guy. Knows for the end zone. Pretty much every attribute you can get. He can run. He can catch. He can do it all. And guess who needs him? It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I did some math here on the Dallas Cowboys as well and why this could be an amazing opportunity for him. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys and where they're drafting, because I look at draft order and needs, they look like they're going to be, as of right now, drafting 12th. And their number one need outside of, offensive guard, they need some O-line help, is, the running back position. Guys ahead of them, like 49ers, Bears, Saints, Panthers, especially the first teams that need to draft, like to Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, they all need quarterbacks, right? So I would imagine they're not going to be going running back. They don't need to go running back. It leads me to say that Jeanty's going to be a first-round pick and he's going to end up on the Cowboys. Now, if that happens, they haven't had a true workhorse running back that they've given volume to since Zeke, and he came in the league 2016, 2017, and they gave him that full workload. He became fantasy relevant. Now, with Jeanty, when he comes in, there is, again, I'm not sold on Dowdle. Rico Dowdle sucks. If you go back and look at Rico Dowdle's stats, I think he's going into his 5th year, and he had one decent year, and that was out of desperation that he got the volume. And if Dowdle could be somewhat fantasy relevant and he sucks, imagine what a guy who's explosive and it could be a first-round pick and Jeanty could do. Dowdle, 235 attempts, just 1,000 yards, 1,079 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, only 2 touchdowns, finished 23rd amongst running backs. That's Dowdle. He sucks. Go back and look at his stats. Absolute trash player. And in comes now Jeanty, one of the top prospects, could have won the Heisman Trophy. Amazing talent. They're going to invest a first-round capital if they want him. They'd be stupid to pass up on the most needed position that they need. He comes in and there's 300 plus attempts to be had. Between Zeke and Dowdle, there was 309 attempts, something like that. And Zeke sucked. I don't even know why they brought Zeke in. The Cowboys are stupid. I don't even know how to tell you this. But so Jeanty, I believe, is going to crush it if he's drafted. He's going to be the workhorse guy. There's going to be zero competition for him. He's going to be the man, plug and play. So if he falls to the second round, now the Consheepses currently have him ranked, I think 15th amongst running backs, something like that. 19th amongst running backs at PPR. They've got James Conner, Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard, and so many other people ahead of him, which is crazy. That's why sheep rankings don't work. That's why you got to get 16 rounds, because I'll tell you who to draft and who to avoid and when to draft them, so you guys don't waste picks like last year, Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk round 3, which was crazy. They really, really steered you the wrong way last year. They do every year. But anyway, that's why rankings don't work, and we're just having fun here. But you want to if I can get Jeanty, oh my God, if I can get him in the 3rd round, man, that'd be amazing as my RB3. But even as an RB2, there's some massive upside. His ADP is going to skyrocket once he ends up on the Cowboys, and you're hearing word that he's going to be the main guy there. So I got him in at number 6 here, Ashton Jeanty. Coming at number 5, this might turn a couple heads or shake some heads or roll some eyebrows, but I got Breece Hall here at number 5 because when we're looking at running back, again, you got to take a look at workhorse running back, talent, explosive, upside, and he had a bad year last year. There's no denying it. When I pull up his numbers here, and I have this up, he finished 16th in PPR amongst running backs, 209 attempts, 876 yards on the ground, 4.2 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, only 3 receiving touchdowns, which again, I would like to see more there out of Breece Hall. Again, we're talking about a top caliber running back who's explosive, who's great talent, who just had a bad offense, man. They just couldn't get it going. There may be a quarterback change this year. Hopefully there's some O-line help. And when I pull up, when I pull up their needs, because I take a look at like what the team needs, because that's very, very important. And the first thing that the Jets need to address is quarterback. There's an offensive tackle in there as well. They need some O-line help. They need some defensive help. They need help across the board. But I really think the future is the quarterback, and that's really going to play into how he's going to do. But he understands. And I think I did a post, I think it was Breece Hall. I talked to so many athletes, and so many athletes comment on my Insta. If you're not following on social, follow my Insta for the drama. But I said that Breece sucked, and he goes, I heard you. Like, he understands that he had a bad year, and he definitely wants to improve in that. Like, he's not called the beast for no reason. He understands he had a down year. He's going to step it up. And I just think, again, only no way but up. So he's trending upwards this upcoming year. I like him in a, and again, you don't have to spend him a first round pick. I got him at 5. If he falls to second or third round, bonus, let him fall, because those workhorses are hard to come by. So you're going to get some value out of Breece Hall this year. I really, really like him for this year. I got him 5 as a guy that could finish as a top 5 if things go his way, okay? Number 4 here, again, make it interactive. Drop a comment below. Make sure you guys do smash it, tap it, slap, hit the thumbs up as we're rolling through here. With this, okay? Number 4 here, I got a guy named Kyren Williams who was on the show last year, finished 7th amongst running backs. What I love here is his 3rd in attempts, 316 attempts. Amazing stuff. So when I am looking at a running back, I do love to, again, filter by attempts here. And look at that volume, 316. He is the alpha on that team. Blake Corum just did not come in and do anything. He is the guy they believe in. 1,299 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns. Kyren Williams is the man on this offense. And the cool thing about him is he's still young. He's only 24 years old, heading into his 4th season. This is the type of stuff I look at. I look at, like, was he durable last year? Yes. Did he have a great year? Yes. Everything is kind of trending towards him to continue on that run. Having him on the show, he just spews out confidence. Like, the guy is ultra confident. Like, he's out there to leave a legacy. He's a good guy. And again, barring any type of injury, I don't see any reason why Kyren Williams doesn't end up as a top 5 running back. Again, hopefully injury doesn't hit him, but everything is lining up towards a great season. Youth, upside, durability, all that stuff, okay? Number 3, I may be passing on him, but I want to make you aware that I can't take him out of the top 10, because the only reason he'd be out of the top 10 is I definitely see a regression. We got him talking about Saquon Barkley. There's going to be a regression. That's number 1. And number 2, could he get hurt? And I just, based on those 2 reasons, I can't just slide him out of the top 10. He's got to be here. I got him at 3. Everyone else is kind of get him at 1 because he finished on top last year. And we know that running backs finished on top last year are not going to finish on top this year. And I'm going to slide him down a couple spots, but Saquon Barkley at 3. And the biggest thing here, again, is the Super Bowl hangover. That's a big thing. And then you've got the fact that he rushed over 2,000 yards. So I don't see that happening again. Only 9 running backs have accomplished that ever. And for him to do it 2 years in a row, unlikely. Now, he is behind one of, if not the best O-line in the NFL. That helps him. He's kind of in his prime of his career, but heading into his 8th season. He's not completely young. He's not as young as some of the other guys, but 13 touchdowns. He's getting the attempts. He's getting the volume. He's getting everything you want out of a running back. 345 attempts, number 1 amongst running backs last year. I cannot deny that if I'm sitting there at the 4th position, that I would not be tempted to grab myself a Saquon Barkley. But that being said, I always want to add depth at the running back position to make sure that I understand it's a pinnacle year. I understand there might be regression. I understand that he might pull a CMC and he might get hurt. So if that's the case, I want to be able to back it up. But personally, for me, I'd be looking at other options round 1 that I feel a little bit warm and fuzzy about. Again, I still got to feel things out very early here in the offseason, okay? Coming at number 2, and let me know in the comments. Let me know, are you drafting Saquon this upcoming year? Number 2, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, amazing talent. And when I look at his stats here, I'm going to pull it up here. The one thing that bothers me when I look at him is the fact that he's held back. Okay, now when I look at his attempts, 250 attempts, but he does so much with it at 5.6 yards per carry, getting the 16 rushing touchdowns, 1,412 yards. But when you look at overall fantasy points, number 1 in fantasy points with only 250 attempts. That shows you how good he is. That shows you how high his ceiling is. And that shows you how much I'm annoyed with David Montgomery, who literally takes away a ton of volume, stealing away 185 rushing attempts, and he only played 14 games. This is a huge annoyance for me. as a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, knowing that Montgomery is there pesting it away. Now, that injury to Montgomery, as short as it was, skyrocketed Jahmyr Gibbs' overall value, 362.9 fantasy points, number one in fantasy points. I did some basic math, like, math 101, not bath. Yeah, I need to take a bath here because I'm, anyway, dirty with stats. That makes no sense. But anyways, so when I'm looking at these stats, it's like Jahmyr Gibbs, man, he would have had over 500 fantasy points without Montgomery there. Basic math, okay? So that shows you why I'm really annoyed with Montgomery, because Jahmyr Gibbs is really the best running back in the NFL. He's explosive. And if I was the Lions, I would play more Jahmyr Gibbs. I wouldn't even play Montgomery. I just wouldn't, because every time Montgomery touches the ball, you are losing a potentially explosive running back play that Jahmyr Gibbs can deliver on literally every single time he touches the ball. So Jahmyr Gibbs, do I love him? Absolutely. But I am annoyed because Montgomery's going to be there. So we're hoping on another Montgomery injury or something catastrophic for Jahmyr Gibbs to continue to put up good numbers. Now, that being said, he still continues to put up good numbers with Montgomery there. But I just feel his ceiling is a little bit, hindered and he's, limited, I should say. That's the word I'm trying to find with Montgomery still there. It just bothers me. And he would be breaking every single running back record, like literally every single running back record known to man. But that's held back because of Montgomery. So let me know what you guys think on that situation. But amazing talent, Jahmyr Gibbs at 2. Number 1 here, I got to go with this guy, is Bijan. And, number 3 last year in fantasy points, amazing stuff. He's great. And I think he's trending upwards. He's still young. 304 attempts put him what? What is it? 4th in rushing attempts, which I love. They finally phased out Algier. He's non-factor. 4.8 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns. He's getting it done in the receiving game. Only 1 receiving touchdown. Obviously, a big question mark is quarterback. Is it going to be Penix next year? Is it going to be Cousins? Like, what's going on there? That's a big question mark. But, I mean, he's just great talent. He's finally got to run the ball. He's finally going to get the volume. He's finally going to continue to run wild. I just think there's more upside and there's less competition with Bijan when you're comparing him to Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are my thoughts. So I got him at number 1 at the time of this recording, all right? So those are your top 10 running backs early list for fantasy football 2025. I'm going to keep updating this list. And again, all the answers are going to be in 16 rounds. So you can just head on over there, grab 16 rounds, and you can know exactly when to draft and who to draft and how to combo it so you have a backup plan for a backup plan. It's not just rankings. Rankings won't help you win your leagues, guys. We've learned this. It's a proven method, 16 rounds. So make sure you guys grab it. thefantasyfootballcouch.com, or I've linked it below. Okay. That's it, guys. Again, I love talking running backs. I just wanted to have a quick conversation here, kind of give you a rundown. Some of these guys are going to fall out. A lot of other guys could slide in. Other rookies could come in. Tyrone Tracy could slide up. Chase Brown could end up being the workhorse. They don't draft another guy. He slides up. So many variables, but we don't know more information till after the NFL draft. And then the depth charts kind of lay out, and that's when I release the 16 rounds. But you can get in right now, 16 rounds. I've linked it below. Hope you guys had some fun here. We're talking fantasy in the offseason. If you're here, man, that is dedication. Fantasy will be back before we know it. I appreciate you guys a lot. We'll talk soon. Subscribe, turn on that bell. Content coming to you guys daily. I'm out.